Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a Monday edition, a President's Day edition of the Ysn Power Hour, proudly powered by our friends at Toyota of Warren. DJ Yoakley with you live and in the flesh. And we got a great show for you today. We have a very Salem-oriented show talking about high school basketball, talking about the success of a couple of this year's seniors for the Salem Lady Quaker basketball team. And we have a special guest that's going to be joining us here in just a moment. Actually, a couple of them that's going to be joining us in just a moment. But ladies and gentlemen, it is the most wonderful time of the year. Today marks a day that a lot of us have been waiting for a long time. It is not only are we moving closer or further, depending on what team you are, into the postseason in girls basketball, moving forward into the postseason of boys basketball, but we are also labeling today as the first day of baseball and softball here in the state of Ohio. That's right. Maybe right now, as a matter of fact, some of your teams are practicing right now, getting ready for spring. Who knows when they're going to play? You just never know in the state of Ohio when they're going to begin. But we hope sooner rather than later. And certainly we wish all teams good luck and good health as we move forward into the spring season. But we've got some things we got to talk about because, ladies and gentlemen, as we previously stated, the YSN All-Star Game is going to be bigger and better than ever. And like never before, it is going to be the tell-all, the be-all. And if you're not there, I don't want to say you're nobody, but I mean, the opportunity is there. We're going to be in Boardman Gymnasium on the campus of Boardman High School for the YSN All-Star Game on March 24th. We will start with the Girls All-Star Game. We will transition after the Girls All-Star Game to a skills challenge. And what I mean by a skills challenge, we will have both boys and girls three-point contests, a 3-2-1 event for the girls, and then a slam dunk contest for the boys. And then we will finish off the night with the boys All-Star Game. Over 60 different communities and schools are represented on both the boys and the girls. We're looking forward to that, certainly, as we get things started and we conclude the 2023-2024 high school basketball season. But we have so many stories to write before we get there. And joining us at this time is going to be one of my dearest friends in the entire universe, the entire world. Mr. Eric Bailey joins us, a guy that knows so much, sometimes too much, about high school basketball. EB, so many people have missed you. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule and stopping by today. I know you've got a couple of young ladies that look up to you incredibly so. So thank you for joining us here today.
Oh, no worries, man. It's good to be back. And we got to do a game a couple weeks ago, which was awesome. One, just because I've got to see, or I've had Ken's play for me a couple times in the summer for AAU, and then to see her get, 1K, and then ultimately that might have been one of the top games that I've seen all year. We went into double overtime?
Double OT, baby. That's how it goes, right?
Dude, it was just big shot after big shot. You had Dill with the big shot at the end, and then Ken's hit it at the end from 25 feet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was standing in the Southern Park Mall parking lot.
Yeah, and so that sent it into double overtime, and then I think at that point Boardman just had more gas, and they were deeper too because Fritz fouled out. Unfortunately Jenna got hurt, and it was a typical AAC matchup. And then all around, just girls basketball this year has been a hotbed. I mean, you have some really great teams. Cressy's undefeated. Columbiana's 19-3. West Branch is 20-2. Boardman's had a resurgence. So there's a lot of things to be excited about in the area this year.
We are going to talk about all of that and more. But first, this is a young lady that you and I both just adore incredibly. A young lady that with great personality, great perseverance, and she has overcome so much to become one of the area's top players. I think, especially on the defensive side of basketball, but by golly, can she score it as well? EB, let's make room and make way for the Barty Party. Lauren Barton joins us here on the Power Hour. What's up there, Barty?
Hey.
Good to see you. Don't be scared. Don't be nervous. It's going to be all right. EB, I want you to stick around for this because I know there are few that know Lauren Barton as well as you do. So I'll start the questioning here. Lauren, for you, this has been a year probably unlike any other. Your senior year seems to always go by in the blink of an eye. What is this season? What has this year been like to you up until late February here?
Yeah, it's been really fast. Um, don't take for granted because everyone says it's going to go fast, and it really does go really fast. This just like the environment and everything, I'm going to miss it so much.
Have you been able to kind of encapsulate or take pictures in your mind of some of the moments that you've had your senior year?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just like doing stuff with the teams, like even soccer, basketball, like when we do the team bonding, like that's something you'll never forget. And it's just so great to have that experience.
One of your former coaches, of course, right here next to us. Evie, what questions do you have for the Barty party?
For Barty party, it's tough because I see low quite often. And hold 1 second. I live right next to the fire station, so you're gonna hear a fire truck more than likely. But um, I guess word is, well, you're probably the second best athlete. We're good now. We are good. So word is you're probably the second best athlete in your house, next to Greg, naturally.
Oh,
It's definitely not your mom. We all know that.
yeah,
Um,
sure.
with that being said, you always have little eyes watching you. You know, Greg especially, but you're a huge role model to a lot of her classmates and those younger girls, and you do a great job. Just with all of them. How important is it to you to be a role model, not only to Gray but all her other friends, to kind of keep the Salem tradition going and just kind of leading the way for what they want to be too.
Yeah, that's a big part in like what I love doing. I love the little kids and just like knowing that they look up to you because one day that's what they're going to be doing is just so special to me because they love the sport just as much as I do. And just having them look up to like me, it just makes you feel special. Like I know I make them feel special, but little do they know they actually make me feel like really special, especially all their support. They're at all my games and it just feels so good to know that the little eyes are always there to see what like we do as a team and individually. They're always watching us. So
So you talk about little eyes, but we hear little mouths whenever we're watching YSN. Every time there's a free throw, you hear shot. Can you give us any insight as to who that might be and why they might be yelling that?
that is my little sister Gray. She's been doing that for a while now. It's the funniest thing because it always like works everyone up, and I mean she's only 8, but she's my biggest fan. She never stops cheering for me, and every free throw it's always been shot. I don't know where she learned it or why she started doing it, but it's great. Everyone loves it. So
I'm excited from a standpoint of being able to watch you kind of grow into the role that you're in right now. I was able to watch the Springfield game, and like we talked about in the after game interview, the press conference, you are able to hold up the team when teams focus in on Riley or Fleck or um, you know your other teammates. You're able to kind of shoulder that burden. You have almost an engine that doesn't quit, but you also always get up. And I don't know if you're a Steeler fan or not, but you remind me a lot of Heinz Ward because you're always smiling no matter what. What is it about that engine that keeps going? And why do you always get up and smile? Is it to bother the opposition, or is it just to pump up your teammates?
well, like the old coaching stuff says, like always flirt with the refs. That's one that we have, but everyone always says that. I mean, I'm always smiling. It's just like because you just kind of have to have fun with it because you only have like one high school career.
Oh, we might have lost her.
And if you don't doing it, if you're too hard on yourself. So, I mean, Bailey always gets on me too. If I don't have fun, it's, yeah.
What are, I guess now that we have both you in the room and this is not rehearsed, what are some of the things that EB's been able to bring to your game and just to be able to help you out with maybe in life in general?
Um, Bailey's a big role model for me. He has taught me so much with basketball and just like everything in general. Like he's technically like my boss. I mean, he I work for him every weekend for youth basketball games and I mean, he's always there. Like if he sees something wrong with my shot during the game, he'll text my mom and my mom will yell from the stands and be like, "Bailey said fix your feet." And Bailey said flirt with the refs, like just like gets me out of my head. I don't know. He's always there though. He knows how to like fix what I'm doing wrong. So
EB, from your standpoint, where has Lauren grown the most over the last few years?
That's tough. I mean, low to me is probably the definition of the process. I just see what she did her freshman year to where, she came in and she's getting some time on JV. And then sophomore year, it might have been the biggest transition for her because she had some of her classmates, her teammates kind of jump up and see a lot more varsity time. And she was kind of in a limbo. And I remember telling her, I was like, Lo, you're gonna take this role and it's gonna be probably the best thing for you because it's really gonna strengthen up your offense. It's gonna, help you with some leadership roles. And she really took it, full force. And then last year, she went from not starting the first couple of games to ultimately starting. And it's not that the person that she jumped ever did anything to lose the job. It's just, what Lo was doing at the time, you couldn't take anything away from her with that. And now you have, a senior year where you lose a pretty good senior class and you have a lot of different things changing. You went from one coaching staff to the next. And, fortunately, she can sit there and say that she's been under some great coaches, with what Coach Hamilton did and the success the past couple of years. And then you have Coach Miller come in, who's a 300 win coach. And, it was one of those things I think they just had to find their footing. And now, Lowe's role changed this year because last year, all eyes were always generally on Abby, Riley, Cammie, you throw in a Zoe Reed and some others. And now her role changes because she's the number 2 or 3 scorer. So, when I think of Lowe, she always adapts to what's needed of her, but she's always an all-star in what that role is. Whether it's scoring 12, 15, 17 points or, I think I took a picture of it. My favorite thing was when they played Boardman, just her and Mackenzie going at it. To me, that was, I was thinking back to July where those two actually shared the court together as teammates, and now they just get to go one-on-one. And it's the definition of, iron sharpens iron. I guess, Lo, with that being said, since you are my definition of the process, what would be your message to others, or whether it's your teammates or people who are in that same role as you right now, kind of looking for their way to, trusting the process and where it's going to get them?
um I always say, like, I bring it up at practice all the time because the JV always gets like upset, or not like necessarily upset, but like they don't feel like, I don't know how to explain it, but like when they're playing defense on us, I always tell them that it's just going to make them better because one day that was like what I was doing. I was the one playing dummy defense, almost you would want to say, on our varsity girls. Like, you're making them better, but at the same time, it's making you so much better because you're playing against like the girls that are going against other varsity teams. And I always just tell them that they have to have confidence, and being on JV isn't a bad thing because that really does help build your confidence and it helps you be like create like your inner player. Like, you have to know what you can and can't do, and like showing that at practice, like I was never afraid to go at the varsity girls when we were on offense against their defense. Like you just have to kind of have confidence in yourself. And I tell Samson all the time, Carly, she's going to be a great player. She just has to find her confidence. And I tell her that being on JV, like that was me. I was in the same spot as her. Like just keep playing your game and you'll get to where you want to be.
What stands out to me, Lo, is the fact that you're a player that for the most part people look to or looked over in the early part of your career and said, okay, well that's just a role player. We don't really necessarily have to watch her on tape, but you've stepped into this almost star player category for the Quakers, and I think the better question isn't how did you do that, is what have you learned that you can apply to your life, given the situations that you've been through, the adversity that you've gone through. How do you take what you've learned in basketball and apply it in the future or in the present as to, being able to go through these situations and not always being given, and have the red carpet rolled out for you, but kind of brick by brick building up who you are in your brand?
Yeah, you just always have to be yourself. I mean, I never put on a fake face to be someone I wasn't, and I feel like that just really helps, like not only in basketball, but like in everything. It especially helps your leadership because if you're like trying to be something that you aren't and being a leader at the same time, you're showing someone to be someone that looks up to you. You're showing them something that you really aren't. So I feel like you just always have to be yourself and like you have to make it fun. Like not everything in life has to be so serious. So like just like in everything, not just sports, you have to make everything fun so it's not miserable to go through.
Who are some of the leaders and role models that you look up to, maybe on the floor and off the floor?
Um, I definitely look like last year for sure. I looked up to Abby and Cami. I wish I had Cami's height, and I wish I had Abby's ball skills. But I look up to those two so much just because they made last year so much fun. But they were also so good at what they did, and it came naturally to them. I love how they play, both of them, and they always pushed me to be better last year, and I think that really helped me this year. And outside of basketball, I really look up to probably my mom, just because she's so like, no matter how much me and her fight, because we're so close, um, she definitely does life the right way. She is successful, and she has me and Gray, and we're happy. So I look up to her and I want to be a good mom like her someday.
That's awesome. EB, you got anything else for Lo?
I think I was just trying to butter up her mom to get some new shoes or something. That's about it.
Issues.
The only thing I got love is like you're kind of in a unique situation. You've been a part of a program. You've been to 3 district titles, and we all went to breakfast last week, and we kind of we didn't talk about basketball this year or last year, but it was just you guys got to kind of just hang out and chill, and it was just good to reconnect with you guys. With it being your senior year, first would be what would it mean to make a 4th district title? Because it's tournament time, you're one and done, nothing's guaranteed now. But what that path is and what it takes to get there. So what would it be to make the 4th? And I guess your past experiences, what of those past experiences do you think will help you get to that point or to that 4th district title? It's kind of an expectation for you guys. So if you can get there, and I very well think you guys can, like you have the pedigree, how are these past experiences going to help you get to that point?
Even though I didn't play in all of those games, I was there cheering for my teammates. So I just know that to get there, it would mean so much to us seniors because this year we haven't had like the same winning season, but we've definitely still had fun and we've like tried to make the best out of it. But really, like if we got there, it would just mean like so much to us. And I know that we're going to work our butts off to get there. So past experiences from getting there, we know we have to work hard at practice, and we just have to keep bringing it and really like staying together as a team. We can't let our team chemistry like fall apart. Like it gets hard because it's such a long season, but we can't let that affect like how our team bonds and everything. So just staying together as a team.
All right, a couple more questions. Lauren Barton, the Barty Party. So, from your standpoint, you're going to get a certificate here in a couple months that says you met all the requirements set forth by Salem High School. Ultimately, Lauren, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do? Do you want to play at the next level? You've got a great opportunity here with this platform to tell coaches what they be getting with you. And what do you want to study, and what ultimately do you want to put your stock into and doing for the rest of your life, or at least for some time?
I want to go to Mount. That's where I want to go to college. I want to be a nurse when I'm older. It's always been my dream to work in the medical field and help others. I'm big on that. Just like, I don't know, that's always been like one of the things I always try to do is like help out others out, no matter like who they are, what they come from, because like you never know who needs help. And I've thought about playing at the next level. I've talked to Cami, Abby, Zoe, me and Rye. We both were. It's so like hard to make the decision, but yeah, I've definitely looked into softball and basketball at the next level. But yeah, just really like making myself successful in the next level is just my main goal.
EB, is it any surprise to you that this young lady wants to help out people for the rest of her life?
No, because she can't be a scorekeeper for me the rest of her life. One, it's not going to pay many bills. It's great for high school kids and college kids now, so I'll hold on to her for a couple more years. The work ethic is something you never really have to question about low. Now a lot of people would sit there and say her and I probably fight like brother and sister. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's in pictures somewhere where we were saying some choice words and then afterwards it's all up. But that's the type of person she is. She wants to compete, and she understands that being held accountable is part of that process. But helping people, that's kind of in her blood. I mean, if many people get to see her on the court and that competitive nature, but if you wanted to see who she is as a human, you just got to look at her off the court. Now she is not only with her sisters, but her sister friends, and ultimately all these other little girls and boys that are in the elementary schools, and how she just interacts with them. It would not, well, being a nurse, it's either because she wants to stab people with needles, or it's because she's made to help people. And she's one of the people in the world that, she's destined to help others.
Lo, to hear that from one of your, one of your bosses, but certainly one of your coaches. What does that mean to you?
It just means so much to see that he knows and he can tell people that I'm not like, if you know me off the court, I'm not as feisty as I am when I'm on the court. It just to be able to tell people that, I mean, that just feels good.
All right, last question for you, because I got to ask this. Why, and we got to pull up full screen, because why the heck does it look like you've got like 3 lockers? Like, have you become that important in the Salem locker room that you've got 3 lockers, and one of them looks like it got just threw up the year 2000?
So we each have a lot of, I could show you. Okay.
All right.
So
yeah.
These are the senior lockers.
Make sure there's nobody like in the locker room though.
There's nobody here. It's just me. So these are the senior lockers. They actually decorated for us for senior night, and we never took it down. And our parents also helped out with that. We each have a star on our locker that says our name. So I'm between the 2 Rileys. So I have my L and then my 2 R's beside me. And they really decked out the locker room this year. We have a bunch of hanging lights and stuff. And there's red and black stuff hanging from the ceiling, basketballs. But yeah, we have 7 lockers that we all share. So
7 lockers, EB. That I mean, it's a new age in Salem where
here's my question. You're probably going to put someone on blast. I probably know the answer. Whose locker smells the worst?
Riley Hutton.
100%.
Her locker right now, I won't embarrass her, but her locker is, I don't know what you would call it.
not good.
No. I mean, Flick has about 5 pairs of basketball shoes in hers. Riley takes hers home every day. I have 2 up in mine.
Well, thank God Riley takes hers home, because if you've ever smelled that girl's shoes, man.
I'm not into smelling girl shoes, EB, but good on you, buddy. Good on you, Coach.
I also got it by default. Look, I was with Riley for 3 years. You tape that girl's ankles. I needed like a chem suit sometimes after.
Lauren Barton, the Barty Party, forever. We are in your debt. Thank you so much for all the great memories. Thank you for all the great times and the great smiles. We wish you nothing but the best. Thank you for stopping by the Power Hour today. Lauren Barton, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
You got it, kiddo. There she goes. The Barty Party. EB, I mean, we can talk. I could have talked to her for the entire hour. She never stops smiling. She always gives it straight. She's never going to sugarcoat it. For someone like that, I mean, you were a workhorse. I was a workhorse in high school. You and I kind of had to, not that we didn't have talent, but we had to work extra hard because of kind of our size and you know, there were guys with a lot more talent than what we had. When you coach a young lady like Lauren Barton, who has talent, but you just have to kind of work harder to kind of polish it, what does that show you as a coach? What does that show you to future players that you're coaching along the way, that all things are possible if you put the work in?
I mean, and I touched on it earlier, like low is the definition of the process. You know, going into her sophomore year, especially, you know, it was a big year for her. And her and I had multiple discussions. And I think it was this summer going into it where, you know, I point blank just told her, I was like, well, you know, I don't want you to focus on the now, but look at the big picture and, you know, 2 or 3 years down the road from now, where you're going to be. And everyone knows now, and it's not just the past couple of years, but, you know, this year, she's a pivotal part of that program. You know, she's the energy. She's kind of like, you know what you get. Riley Hutton is a freak of an athlete and a heck of a player, and a lot of eyes are on her. But then, you know, Lo kind of turns into the engine for him, and it's one of those things to where, is she the tallest? No, she'll admit that. You know, she wants Cammie Rome's height, you know, and she wants, you know, Abby Davidson's handles and this and that. But she's always going to give you a ton of heart. She's going to give you a ton of energy, and it's those intangibles that, you know, you can't replace. Those are the things you can't teach. You know, there is one thing that I can guarantee, that no matter the sport, whether it was soccer, basketball, softball, she's going to come out and give her all, and she's going to compete. Like, she's a high level competitor. And I think when you have those athletes and you look at it as a coach, that outweighs a lot of, you know, natural talents sometimes. You know, at the end of the game, do you want the person who's going to go, you know, put their body on the line, anything to do to get the win? Or do you know, and maybe they're not as talented, but over the person who has more natural talent, but they're just going to go through the motions? You know, that's where I will give Lo all the credit. You know, she will always do whatever it takes and, you know, literally put her body on the line, or she's the one that will dive for the loose balls, take the charges. You know, she's 5'3". If you're 6'2", she's like the little puppy who thinks she's actually, you know, a German Shepherd, and you can't tell her any different. And I think just that heart, tenacity, and determination, you know, makes up for, you know, a lot of things in athletes. And as a coach, when you see that, you know, that gets you excited, just because, you know what you got, and no matter what the hands dealt, you're going to be in it.
I'm really interested as we shift gears here. EB, you are constantly looking into the girls' game and trying to support the girls' game and give the girls a platform, differently and unlike any other time in history. Um, you've kept a keen eye on kind of this area, and as we head into tournaments, if we're not already in them, in some cases, who are some of the teams that you want to keep an eye on, or we should keep an eye on? From the YSN standpoint as to following teams that could make a nice little run for themselves in 2024?
I think now with how the districts are set up, you have a lot of teams. Canfield's going to be in the mix. I think Salem's right there. You have a 22-0 Crestview, which their district, their top half is actually pretty favorable for them, but then once you get into the districts, I think they have a pretty tough. They'll have their work cut out for them, but that D3 division is pretty solid all the way across. I think a good game when it comes down to it. If United wins, you might get a rematch of United in South Range. I think that'll be a stellar game if it happens, or whoever comes out of there. If Mooney would happen to win their first semi-sectional, they travel to Columbiana. I believe that'll be a really good game. You have a Columbiana team that is actually really, really young, and they're sitting at 19-3. Talk about a league that had tri-champions. So that's just crediting the talent in that league. And then I think you just have a lot of teams in this whole area that have played, and they started to schedule outside of this area to make these tournament runs. I think a favorite in D2 and everyone knows it's going to be West Branch. You have a healthy Sophia Gregory this year. They have a ton of height, and they have some great role players. You have. I always felt like with them, Denison is a ton of energy, and you have some nice, young talent coming up that can hit some shots for them. And Division One, Hoban, for them it's probably state or bust. And then Boardman, I think they can make a nice run, and they can get to a district semi, if not a district, along with who else? You have Louisville now. Louisville has Cheney, which I think is a game that they very well should and could win. And then, they would have to get through, I believe it's like Menor Green. And then the work will probably be cut out with Magnificat. And then, Fitch has been right there. And I think a team that really has high goals for this postseason is Hallen. And I remember last year playing them, and fortunately, Gia Hoso and Alyssa Masucci played for me past couple of years in AAU, and they were pretty beat up. And I remember giving Gia Hoso a hug, and I just told her, hey, this year was our year, next year's yours. You got to go get it. So I think they're poised to make a nice little deep run as well.
When you look at a team you've mentioned a couple of AAC teams now. When you look at a team like Boardman, that hasn't won a championship, conference championship in 19 years, and all of a sudden you have the trio of seniors and captains and MC Worth, who is the big dog of the Valley this week, Sam Dubel, and of course Mackenzie Riccatelli. When you look at a team like that, that's built and is never out of a game, what really excites you about the Spartans this year, as they were sitting around 5th or so on the YSN power rankings throughout the year?
Man, they just work. I was actually talking to a college coach the other weekend. I believe Boardman was playing Salem, and there's a couple of college coaches, and they didn't really know too much. And I was like, look, Boardman is kind of that team to where you look at them and they're blue collar. That's the best way that I can think of it, is they're blue collar. You know what you're going to get with Ken's. Ken's is very savvy, and she's very, poised. But then you look at, like you said, Worth and Dubel, and then, Barrow, like they really buy into their role and what they need, and they're not afraid of those moments. And you can just tell that it's a team to where they play with heart and they put in hard work, which when you do that, and you're going up against some of these competitions or who they play, it's not going to be easy, but they're not afraid to compete. And I think that's huge. When you're not afraid to compete and you look at everyone as, a worthy opponent and not necessarily, oh, this is who they are, or you're not seeing the name on the front of the jersey or considering it a rival, but it's a quality opponent. You get up for that in a different mindset, and they put in the work, and you can tell just they play so well together, and they play hard, and they just do a lot of the little things. And I think that's what really keeps them in, all these games, and really helps them down the stretch to put four quarters together and win them.
I guess one of the biggest questions that I've had, and we've had to dance around it because you've been attached and you've been a coach. But now that you're kind of a free agent, so to speak, I've always had the impression that the closer you get to amateur status, whether it be high school or middle school or just AAU, things of that nature, the more important the coaching is. We've seen the coaches come in and be able to influence and change the trajectory of programs over the past few years. One of the ones this year that we've seen going back to Boardman is Jeff Hamilton. We talked about 19 years without a conference championship. He comes in for 2 years, understands what he has, and leads. And I mean that with every bit of what it means, leads a team to a championship, because the coach is important in the high school realm. Yes, no, maybe. I mean, it's always great to have talent, but when you have a leader, a true leader, does that make an ultimate difference in the trajectory of a basketball team?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a believer that, if your teams follow the energy of the coach, you'll kind of see what the team is made up of. And we all know Coach Hamilton is a very high energy person. Like his whole staff is it, but they're very passionate. And you can see that passionate actually, flows through that whole team. And it's easy, or as a player, as a former player, when you have a coach who is, passionate in your corner and kind of creates that culture, it's just easy to buy into. And that's what you can see is Boardman started to buy into it. And, the rest is kind of history. It's a team. I've spoke about a process to where if you look at the past couple of years, they had some growing pains. They had girls out recruiting. They had to bring some people back. They had to get some people healthy. And then also, he came in with a ton of energy. If you watch him in summer league, if you watch him in scrimmages, he gives that same energy in June as he does in January. And, that's important because it creates expectations, and a lot of those girls put in that same effort that he puts into coaching, whether it's, they're there to rebound, whether it's setting good screens or even just playing good defense. They take that energy that he's giving the whole time and they play with it. I mean, you've seen a lot more of their games than I have, and I'm pretty sure after every game, that dude might be sweating just as much as some of those girls.
One of the last questions I have for you, Eric Bailey joins us. What a treat this has been. EB, for you and I have talked a lot kind of off the record about the energy side of things on the bench and how important that is. Explain for those maybe that are just casual fans, moms and dads, and just general sports fans, why you've always put emphasis, and the people around you have put so much emphasis on bench energy, especially this time of year.
It's huge. I wish I could be the one that claims all this, but I'm definitely not that. Probably the most perfect person would be Renee Drager. But if you watch what bench energy does for teams, as a staff, I think we always felt it was worth like 8 to 10 points a game. And it's just, basketball is a very negative sport. So, you're going to miss a lot of shots. You're prone to a lot of turnovers or just making mistakes. So that bench energy is important, especially when, so-and-so will say Lauren Barton, she was on, she misses a shot, but when she has that backing of her teammates on the bench right in her ear, like, hey, you got the next one. And it's just reaffirming everything that's going on, it's huge. And then when you hit that shot, it just adds another level of excitement. And honestly, it makes it fun. This is sport. Like if you watch NBA, WNBA, basketball and college are really good programs. They always have really good bench energy. And part of it is it creates a different level of excitement. And then also it just creates a different level of cohesiveness to where, subconsciously, your teammate has your back and they're building you up the whole time. So it's sort of just giving you that pat on the back that you need, or when you're down, they're right there to pick you right back up.
My guy, Eric Bailey, one of the most, I think, one of the up and coming coaches around here. I'm excited for your future, your trajectory, your bench energy, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. You are always welcome. Looking forward to the next few weeks. Hopefully, you'll come back and talk to us about what you're seeing in the realm of playoff basketball here in the area.
I'm a text or phone call away. It's always a pleasure. I enjoy it. So thank you for letting me pop on.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Bailey. EB. Thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate you. We're going to take a break. We come back. Riley Hutton in a pre-taped interview earlier today because she is a busy young lady. You're going to find out why. All of that and more coming up next on the other side of the break on the YSN Power Hour presented by our friends at Toyota of Warren.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
It means the world to me to know that what we're doing is impacting people. It means the world to me to know that what we're doing is impacting people. And whether it's simply, I got to watch my son or daughter when I was out of town, or we just love watching YSN. We love what you do for our son or daughter. So whenever someone says thank you or someone is appreciative of what we're doing, it tells me everyone at YSN is doing what we initially set out to do, which is shine a light on these athletes and help them kind of promote themselves. My name is Anthony Hartwig, and my sports network is your sports network.
And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, a player profile that you're going to want to sit back and enjoy today. A young lady who is a senior this year, but has made her mark all over the great school district as well as the community of Salem. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we welcome and invite in one of the GOATs of the area. She's done it all, and she's done it all a few times. Ladies and gentlemen, Riley Hutton. Hi, Rye. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. All right, so let's start from the beginning. We've had a chance to kind of watch your career ascend, and you've done this since a very young age. I've seen videos of you early on 21 WFMJ as an ice skater, a figure skater, and you've kind of gone up from there from a standpoint of taking over seemingly everything that you've ever kind of went into. So basketball, soccer, track and field, things of that nature. So let's start with figure skating. What was it about figure skating in the early going that got you involved and got you to be incredibly talented in the sports world?
Yeah, I mean, figure skating is a very competitive sport. So I think that's from an early age. I started when I was 3. So like growing up, it was just like bred into me, like to be competitive and everything. So I think that definitely played a big role on like all the other sports growing up. And like skating, you fall a lot. It's very tough. The coaches are harsh on you. So I think growing up that like put me in the right mindset for sports and just like really helped with everything. So I'm very appreciative for figure skating.
Figure skating is a huge challenge. Most people can't skate right now. I'm 39. I couldn't skate anything. And you're doing it at 3 years old. What were some of the early challenges for you from a standpoint of just overcoming adversity and things of that nature? I think your sister did it as well, did she not?
Yeah, she did. We both did it.
So yeah. From that standpoint, what was some of the adversity that you faced that you learned to overcome that helped you later on maybe in life or in other sports?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's definitely not easy to figure skate at all. It took a lot of challenges and everything, a lot of practice, a lot of time. I would be there every single day of the week until I was probably like 15 years old. If I had like a week off, it was like a big deal. So that really just helped me with everything else because I knew I had to put a lot of time into things to get good at it. So that's exactly what I did with basketball, soccer, and track. I had to practice and practice to get to where I'm at. So yeah, it definitely helped a lot.
So let's fast forward, I don't know, about 15 years. Here you sit, a senior at Salem. You have, I want to say that the majority of the record books you've cleaned out and rewritten your name all over it. From a standpoint of all the sports that you've been able to touch, why is it so important to you that you not only respect these records that you're breaking, but also rewriting them along the way?
Yeah, growing up and everything, like I said, I was always very competitive. So that played a big role into when I came to high school. And I just have a real big drive for sports, a big passion, and always my I'm always tough on myself and everything. So I just feed that into sports. And I just have a competitive mindset. I always want to win and everything. And so I always just give my all into sports. So that definitely helped me throughout the years of breaking records and everything like that. So
Your humility is incredible. I mean, we've talked about this before. You would not even want to mention some of the records that you've broken along the way, but they have to be mentioned because of the talent and because of the prestige of the records and the school district that you're doing it in. For you, did you go in wanting, certain records or certain kind of standards that you hold yourself accountable to?
yeah, whenever I was a freshman, I didn't really know what was gonna happen, how it was gonna be or anything. But like once I noticed that I could do some things, break some records, that's when I just an early age as a freshman, it really like drove me to really practice a lot, keep like going, keep pushing, like, and everything, which led to like the bigger picture in the end with everything. So yeah, it's definitely started early on when I saw I could reach those goals, and so then I kind of just chased them my entire career throughout Salem. So
You've been on some great teams with some great teammates. What is the best part of your kind of, I don't know, your algorithm or your utility belt of being a good teammate?
yeah, I mean, teammates are everything. Teammates help me reach all these goals, and just being on so many amazing teams throughout my high school career is like something I'm so grateful for. Like the friendships I've made and everything, they help me reach my goals. They always all believe in me and everything. So it's definitely probably like one of the most important things to have. It's great to have lucky with great teammates throughout my life. So
One of your ultimate teammates, I think, your sister, a young lady who is getting it done at Youngstown State University. I think you're in her golf room, you said right now.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
from that standpoint, what's it been like growing up in a family that is a very competitive family? I mean, you guys are obviously competing for that last name naturally, but you're also competing for each other and with each other a lot of the times as well.
Yeah, like I said, like we grew up like even competing against each other sometimes with skating, so we both had that mindset growing up and everything, but just looking up to her, seeing her break records in golf and everything and just seeing her like always practice and practice and practice with golf, I think that definitely helped me a lot, and she definitely helps me now cuz she's my biggest supporter. She's always texting me before games if I'm having a bad day or something like that. She's always texting me and like trying to keep my head up and everything. So she definitely is one of my biggest supporters and helped me through this all. So very thankful for her.
One of the biggest challenges I think that nobody's going to talk about, at least at length, is the fact that when you're a senior and there's a new coaching regime that comes into town and essentially kind of shakes everything up, right? So, and that's nothing that you could help or anybody could help. It's just how it is. For you, what has been the biggest piece of trying to build back what you had at Salem the last 3 years and some of the great moments that you've had under a new regime of a coaching staff?
Yeah. It was definitely a challenge this year, just like facing adversity and everything like that. Definitely a big change. I think a lot of people don't notice, like having the same coach for 3 years, and then my senior year, like all kind of changes. There's girls like coming up from JV. We kind of had to like rebuild our entire thing. The last 3 years, we really focused on like energy, positivity. Just like we had a lot of the Salem standard and everything like that. So whenever it was all changed, there's definitely a challenge for all of us. But each day we tried to just work on like new things and like being open to everything. And we struggled a little bit at the beginning of the season, but I think as the season went on, we learned how to face those challenges and like adapt to adversity. So yeah, definitely challenging. But I think honestly, in the long run, it was a good challenge for us. So
I've been very impressed with how you have come along and this team has come along, especially of late. When you look at the group that has stayed together, I mean, you and Lowe, and from that standpoint, the expectations never changed because some of obviously you graduated a lot of players in the last 2 years. When you talk about Coach Hamilton, with her moving on and your staff moving on, when you think about how this team has progressed, was it just figuring out the right kind of gelling? Was it the right kind of situation, or do you see this team getting better as we head towards the tournament?
Yeah, I honestly see us getting better as we go through the tournament. We just played Austintown Fitch, and it was probably like our best game we played together. And it's like finally we had that game that how we know we can be, and like we know that's the team we are. So for it to come at the end of season, a little late, but honestly, we're just focused on tournaments now. So that's going to help us in the long run for tournaments and just try to go as far as we can and keep that same mentality we've been playing. So.
What are some of the boxes that you have left to check? For this year, your senior year, what are some of the things you want to accomplish, whether it be personal or from a team perspective?
Just keep on like pushing and everything, and just to get all my teammates and us all to be on the same page and everything, and honestly, just to get as far as we can, just to not let down, like try to help my teammates get like energy and excited for the game, and so we can play to our best of our ability. Just trying to be a leader these last couple weeks.
These last couple weeks, obviously, it's you've still got some work to do in the spring sports, as I understand. But for you, what is out there? I mean, are there opportunities to play at the next level? Is that something you want to do? Is that something you're still exploring? Where are you at in the process?
Yeah, thankfully I've been blessed to get an opportunity to play all three sports. I'm not sure what to do yet. I'm still trying to figure that out, but definitely want to continue on playing basketball. It's always been my love and everything like that. So definitely excited to keep on going in college.
And now we're not going to prod you as to some of those schools because we want it to be an exciting and a surprise for everybody else. But like when you look at obviously going to the next level, when there's an element of athletics, but the academics have to come first, and they have for you for a long time. What are you looking to utilize? Do you know what you'd like to major in, and why?
Yeah, I actually think I want to major in early childhood education. My sister is currently in that right now, and she likes it a lot. And I've always just had a love for like teaching kids and everything like that. For a side job, I teach little kids with basketball and everything, and I just really notice how much I love like seeing them grow and trying to teach them and everything. So yeah, I'm looking into going in that, and obviously it's going to be tough balancing with sports, but they seem to, if you're an athlete in college, they seem to understand that, like the professors and everything. So it's definitely something I adapt to, but no, little change can't hurt, you know. So
I think you'd be phenomenal at it. We talk all the time about the young teachers and teachers that teach young kids. They've got to be able to bring the juice all day, and you've got to meet that energy that the young ones bring or exceed it. You've been able to do that on the floor, on the field, on the pitch, constantly through your career. How do you keep energized throughout these contests? Is it, I mean, are you taking like Red Bull? Is it something that you just have to build up your your strength and your things of that nature, your immunities? How do you do it constantly at such a high level?
I mean, I always have friends that surround me that push me and just like keep me going, always keep a positive environment and everything. So that definitely helps so much. And I have a great family and like coaching staff and everything. Like all my coaches throughout my life and my family have always just been there for me and they understand. So that always makes it a little bit easier to just keep on going and keep that mentality and everything.
You alluded to the support staff. I mean, we can't let you go without talking about your family, who's been incredibly supportive, like you said, through this entire journey. When you think of your family, what stands out to you? What are some of the things that you're so appreciative of that maybe you can't always say thank you in person that you want to give them a shout out?
Yeah, I mean, they're always there for me no matter what. Like if I have a bad game, a bad meet, or like anything, no matter what, they're still just telling me how proud they are of me every day. I think my dad always sends me texts all the way throughout the day, just like how proud he is of me, and like no matter what like happens, like he's just always proud of me. And same with like my sister and my mom, they're always just so supportive of everything I do. So yeah, I'm very thankful for all of them and definitely they have all helped me where I am today. So
When you look back, and obviously you've got some time to do so, but you're going to get a paper over the next couple months that says you've met all the requirements that Salem High School's had out for you.
Mhm.
When you reflect on your career, not only at Salem but your athletic career, throughout your life, what are some of the main pieces that you really think back on with some shine, and you really appreciate the moment that you have?
yeah, there's been so many great moments that I'm thankful for throughout my career. Making it to the regional finals my sophomore year for basketball is something that like I know a lot of people don't get to experience. So even like the fact that I was allowed to experience that with like a great team and everything was grateful. For the records I broke and everything, just like after everyone just like so happy for me and everything, or like memories that like I'll have forever. And just to leave a mark on Salem is amazing. I know that a lot of little girls look up to me and everything, so the fact I'm able to like do that for them is something really special.
Last question, and you just perfect segue right into it. The little girls, the little boys that look up to you, what message do you have for them as they look at your records in the record books, and they want to not only recognize you, but hopefully they want to break those records at some point and be on some special teams themselves? What messages do you have for those young ones that are looking to accomplish the things that you have?
Yeah. Just to always work hard, keep working hard, practice what you want to get good at, and don't ever be too scared to make goals too high for yourself. You can always reach them with a lot of hard work and dedication, and yeah, just work hard and you can see good results out of it. So
Riley Hutton, we can't thank you enough. We appreciate you not only today, but each and every day leading up to this. You've been such an integral part, and your family's been an integral part of the growth here at YSN. And you've made it fun to watch along the way. Thank you so much for your time, and good luck heading down this final stretch.
Thank you so much.
It is the YSN/Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, industrial, anything electrical, make sure that you head on over to dickeyelectric.com. Get suited and booted today. I guess my biggest spark today, not necessarily a great one, is we taped that a little bit earlier. I had no idea that the microphone was not working. I think it was the microphone on the camera, I guess. I don't have any other mics that I know of other than Big Brother probably tuning in. And I feel bad because I purposely turned it down. I've been fighting this cold, as everybody knows. Coughed into my sleeve, did all that stuff, and it came over on Riley's interview. Riley, Rob, there, I apologize. That stinks. That stinks. There it is. It's back. That's called karma. That's going to do it for our show. Special thanks, Eric Bailey, Riley Hutton, Lauren Barton, the entire Salem community. The interaction today has been phenomenal. Thank you all for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on YSN with more from around the area. We are looking forward to continually covering and giving these young people a heroic sense of belonging in their communities and right here on this platform, your sports network. For now, DJ Oakley signing off. Peace with you, and we'll see you on the other side. YSNlive.com. All of the stuff that you need, stories, standings, scores, all of it. We got it for you. YSNlive.com. See you tomorrow. Peace. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of your